Welcome to You Decide, the program that gives you information, facts, and analysis. It's wonderful here in London. In fact, we're back to summer. I'm so glad you're watching. This morning, we want to say something that will affect you, your family, and the nation indeed. We've been told that the education of a nation is the backbone of that nation. It affects the future of the country, it affects the present, and of course it affects the standard of living, because those who are going to take over from the present government are those being trained in various institutions. And the present Secretary of Education has changed everything. No longer GCSE, no longer can you do your examination or your modules 10 times over so that you may make a star. Now it's going to be like the old order. You do it once, you pass it once, and it affects the whole family, maybe more than once. My name is Shegun Johnson, and to discuss this very important issue, which will be affecting your family and my family, I have in the studio, as usual, Priscilla Nwipo. Priscilla, you're welcome to the program.
Good morning, Joe.
Also, we have Otumba Bode Oseni. Otumba, you're welcome to the program.
Many viewers.
And of course, our in-house political analyst who studied at the London School of Economics, whom I will be depending a lot to give me more information on this English baccalaureate. Dr. Toledo, you're welcome to the program.
Good morning. It's a privilege being here.
Now, listen to this report. Education Secretary Michael Gove announces the overhaul of GCSE exams in the Commons, the biggest shakeup of the exam system for English secondary schools in a generation, was unveiled as Minister said GCSEs will be scrapped in favor of a revamped English baccalaureate qualification from 2017. As education experts raised concerns that less academically gifted pupils could be left behind by new EBAC. The Education Secretary, Michael Gove, confirmed that a sizable proportion of students will leave school with no qualifications. Students who find the new exams difficult will be given a detailed record of their achievement by their schools, which will be forwarded to further education colleges, where they will be encouraged to see the exams later, age 17 or 18. Now, let me tell you, I went through this personally while I was going through in schools. You just study throughout the session, and then you take one examination at the end of it all. You pass, you are brilliant. You fail, you repeat. And no other chance. And many people are saying, look, life has changed. There are so many ways of education. You can get a BTech, you can go through Polytechnic, you can go through training colleges. Why put all of us in a straight jacket? And many have complained that especially boys, they do take off when they are a bit mature, unlike girls who could easily get good results at the age of 11, 12, 13, 14. Now you are going to miss out on some boys who will later be called brilliant, but when they are 11, 12, they're going to miss out. Now this affects your children. You need to listen to us carefully, because we have divergent opinions, even here in studio and all over the country. They have been discussing e-baccalaureate. Priscilla, I know your position. Why is this good for us, or why is this bad for us?
I'm not sure if it's good or bad. It depends on which side of it you're looking at it from, and it depends on who it's affecting. Then it's either the good or the bad. Now, they've made such a fuss about the education system in this country, and I think it stems from the fact that the question is it because of the standards that are provided in the classrooms? And that is why it was necessary to have the GCSEs as it is today, because I do recall that when GCSEs was first introduced to replace the O-level and the CSEs, which was, I think I was one of the first people to take the exam then, it was, we had our 10 exams within the 2 weeks period or whatever it was in June at the end of, at the age of 16.
Okay.
We did everything at that point, and that was it, except for coursework and things that you did previously. It was only recently that I learned that, the system had changed so much that you begin to work for your GCSEs 2 years in advance. So you can take some of the exams, before the actual end of the season.
And what is wrong with that?
I think they complain so much about it in this system that because they say that the standards are slipping, they say that less able people are getting grades that they would not have gotten ordinarily. Thus, they're introducing this. But I think personally, what the situation is that students are not practicing the art of taking exams. I think when you look at other cultures and you look at other countries, let's flash back to Africa very quickly.
Yeah.
You know, once you get into secondary school, even before you get into secondary school, you practice the art of taking exams. If you don't pass an exam, you cannot go on to the next stage. And you do that until you get straight through school. And so that teaches you learn how to study, how to prepare, how to be ready for what is before you. Whereas with this system, everything is left. You know, right from primary school, you don't actually face any exams until they started introducing stats and things like that to help them. But it's too staggered.
Okay.
Students need to practice their art
Priscilla,
of
I
taking
need
exams.
to know what side you take. Are you for this new baccalaureate, or you are for the present form that is being phased out?
I'm for the new, if it will be done like they do in Europe, where students have to stay on until they're 18.
Okay.
Then that means you stay within the education system much longer.
Much
Whereas
longer.
if we're going to end it at the age of 16,
which we do now.
you know, if it's going to end there, then I think, you know, there's no point to it, because you're then going to still have people out in the streets. Whereas I think if they stay within the education system until they're 18, I think it might work better.
Otumba, you have studied in Nigeria, in Germany, and in England, and therefore you have this comparative ability. Why do you think the secretary to the Ministry of Education, why is he changing it? Which one, from your experience, which one do you think is good, or do you think this new one do you think is going to be up to it?
For a start, I'm not too sure about what is going on. I need to confess and let the viewers understand that. But what I want to advise is they must keep up with time. They must also keep up with the parents. Yeah, they must also keep up with the changes that is taking place, because at the end of the day, it is their children that we're talking about here.
Okay.
But going back, I mean, I went through the straightforward one, primary 6, then the secondary school. Then I have to do my A-level evening classes. I have to finance that myself, work in the bank, and then paying for my own. So it was, as far as I'm concerned, it was a straightforward thing.
Yeah.
Primary 6 and so on and so forth. And then I went to university.
You're trying to show us the ability of the inner man. Even when you were doing your A-level, you were paying for yourself.
Yes.
And
yes.
therefore, there was something that came from the inner person. That's not the one that they try to push you, go and take it.
No.
You got a C, go and take it again.
No.
So it's got to be from the inner man.
Yes.
And maybe that is what Michael Gove is trying to allow people to be able to push themselves.
Exactly.
Rather than the system trying to help them.
Yeah, and that's another thing. So if changes that are taking place have been researched into, and they find out that most of the people that have been passed through and shoved and then pushed to the university level, and they come out, they cannot even write a simple composition or write a simple application or even fill the application forms. I have seen situations where you ask a graduate to come and fill an application form, and they get angry.
That is an art on its own, filling forms.
With the changes that is taking place, I have no doubt in my mind that it's for good, and that's why I'm saying parents should
be up to what is going on.
Make sure that they follow what is going on. Yeah.
Thank you. Tunde, I really want you to do a dissection here. What is the present one that is being phased out? What is the new one that is being that is coming? Give us advantages and disadvantages so that the parents can listen and see the rationale behind what the Secretary of Education is doing, or take a stand.
Well, let me start from where we are today.
Okay.
Currently, what is operating is the GCSE. And for a student to be able to take a GCSE, there are different modules or ways he or she can attain that. And it's the component of it where the problem lies. One is that there's what they call the classroom assessment, whereby in a sort of an examination environment, the teacher sort of assess the student, and then they send the results to the examining body like AQIA or Excel. That's one. Then there's a sort of the unit courses, whereby they have to do a lot of units. But the problem with this one is that, and many people might not necessarily know this, in a given class, let's say your child or your children
As the case may be.
As the case may be. They are in year 9. Within a class of 28, there's a sort of 2 different exams they can take.
Yeah.
It's because of the foundation and then the higher level.
Yes.
In other words, if you have been graded to do a foundation course, no matter how much effort you put into the final bits of it, you cannot pass more than C grade.
That's right.
On the other hand, if you have been picked for the higher grade, definitely it means that you can do exams that will take you up to A stars on A level, A grade or B grade.
That's correct.
So in other words, in the same class, you can see that 2 students are in the same class, attending the same class, doing the same thing, but each is being pitched to do up to C grade and the other one is being taught up to...
But you can upgrade yourself, can't you?
Well, that is where the problem within the current system is. If you have been deemed to be only for the foundation, if the exam you are sitting for is the foundation exam of the course,
there's nothing you can do.
Let's say English language.
All right.
There's nothing you can do to move beyond the C grade in that English language. On the other hand, if you've been pitched for the A stars level grade, then you can do to A stars.
What if my teacher has seen me that I can upgrade before the exam day?
Well, that's if your teacher has seen you to be upgraded, then they can upgrade you. But in most cases, you find out that the teacher has sort of
made up his mind.
Not made up his
Mind. They based on statistical analysis. They based also on your SAT test. See, many people even do not know this, that what you finally get out of your GCSE is more or less being predicated on the SAT exam you sat in your primary school. The secondary school use that as an indicator of how you're going to achieve or your final outcome in your GCSE.
So you're trying to say that there's a lot that depends on parents to ensure that their children do get a very good result at the SAT in primary school and the one in year 9.
Yes, because the SAT is what the school itself, the secondary school your child will go to, what they will use as a predictor of what you're going to get in your GCSE level.
If you have a formidable parent who oversees you, you are likely to do good because he will ensure that you don't play when it comes to Saturn.
I think there are 3 responsibilities on the parent in this one.
Okay.
One is they need to know the structure of the education itself. In other words, my child is in a particular class. Is he in the foundation one or is he in the higher ability class? Even in primary school, it is done. That's the first thing they need to understand. They need to know the performance of the child on each of the subjects, because you can be graded to be doing in foundation in English, but then in mathematics, you deem to be going for the A grade. So you need to know where and then meanwhile, you need to be able to know that your your child, have a broad range of understanding as well.
Okay.
Can I just say that?
Yes, quickly.
That, what Dr. Idowu has said, where if they give you the foundation to do, they may give you the foundation, say, in the year before the final paper. So then that's where the upgrade comes in. So if you do well at on that foundation the year before the final, and it is good, they stagger the exams. They do it in November, January, I think, March, like that. So, at some point during the course of that time, let's say that you do your foundation in November or December, and you do exceptionally well, it's likely that you will be permitted to do the higher grade by March, so that you can attain a much higher grade. You'll be allowed to do the higher paper. So that's what they do, so that you better yourself. So for those students who are not as good, they assess that they will not do beyond the C, they start off with a foundation. But then if they demonstrate that they're capable, then they're permitted to go higher.
Yeah, but what is wrong with that? If you did badly in December, or rather you did badly a year ago, but this time you have proved that you can do better, and then they improve you and you upgrade yourself, finally you come out with an A star. What is wrong with that? Because you have not cheated.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a question of you being able to prove and demonstrate that you can do that. Yeah. In many cases, it's not that the teachers have sort of made a ceiling. They don't make a ceiling, as Priscilla explained. But then it is incumbent on the student to be able to demonstrate and prove that he or she can move from the foundations to the higher grade. That is... Okay,
Doctor, they will tell us the new one. So what is this new one?
Well, the new one, which is expected to come into operation in 2017. In other words, the e-baccalaureate exam is going to happen, or the current year 7 students are going to be the one that's going to sit for that exam.
Yeah.
If your child is in year 8 up to year 10, he or she is going to sit for the GCSE as it is. Now, the core components of the baccalaureate are twofold. One is that what they call the academic rigor of it. In other words, there are basic subjects, English, mathematics, science, one of the humanities, it could be history, and then a language, 6 core subjects. And then any other one can be added into it. That is one element of it. The second element, which is the critical element of it, is that whereby currently you sit for modules, unit assessments, training and all those sort of things. Now you have to sit for one final exam at the end of it. In other words, the current year 7 students are going to sit just one exam for that particular subject. In other words, just like the Nigerian, whereby what we call the almighty June, the May-June exam, when you get to year 11, then you sit for the exam, and that is the end of it.
I'm going to ask you one question. How does that prove itself better than the one we are doing? Is it better?
Yeah, what they are trying, it's slightly better in the sense that the current one gives the student the opportunities and the teacher the opportunity to game the system. Now, what do we mean by...
to improve yourself.
No, you
can... No, it's a bit, look at it this way. It's a little like saying you're doing a scene paper. Because, I do this exam in November or December, wherever it is. We look at my grades. Okay, so where did I falter? And then the next thing is, my parents or the teacher would begin to focus on what I need to do in order to get my A or B stars. But whereas when you get to the new exam that is coming up, you don't get to repeat that again.
You see, let me tell you the danger, because I went through this new system, which is actually old. And the danger is that you can play all year long, and then 1 month to the exam, you memorize every bit, everything, because it's just one exam. You memorize it, and therefore you are not a good student. You don't know it, but you memorize. You can put it down, and the examiner looks at it. Yes, that's what I want, but can you apply it? No. Has it become fabric of your system? No, because you have memorized it. You pour it down, and then you walk away. People think you are brilliant, but you are not. The present system, you've been applying it, practicalizing it, and therefore you have improved yourself all over the time, and therefore I believe that I still need to be convinced, Otumba.
The only worry I have here is the confusion. It's built into the new approach now. Because from the old system, it's agreed that if 30 or 28 children are in a class, of course, not all of them are going to get the same grade. But those who are weak, those who have not been doing well, who have not been working hard, obviously would not pass the exam. So, and I think that is a more straightforward, because when you start breaking into 3 or 4, knowing the system here, some of the children will say, well, there's a comfort zone in level 2. So if I don't get to level 1, I can manage with level 2 and so on and so on. So the amount of confusion built into the whole system is worry I have.
Okay. Yeah,
one
go on.
One of the things about the current system is not yet old, just for the benefit of the
viewers. If your child is in year 8 up to year 11, they are still going to do the GCSE.
Okay,
one of the constraints of the new system is that because of the different elements of the things that they have to do, in particular the assessment. So the assessment can be done and then marked by the teachers and then sent to the examination board. And for instance, one of the problems the English language causes is that there are certain elements within the English language that are very subjectively tested, like oral and speaking. Now, it is your teacher that will sort of determine how good you are in how you speak the English. And that is one of the reasons why the problem on this English language comes. Because what then happened was that for the student that sat for the exam in January, they had what we call a generous marking. When the examination sort of revised the figure. In other words, they moved the threshold of the parking, and then that affected.
Which was not fair, was it?
Well, some people will argue that it wasn't fair, those that are affected. So that then sort of, makes a lot of difficulty within the system.
And to make greater difficulty, in Wales, the secretary in charge of education had asked that the English be regraded in Wales. So some Welsh students who took the same exam are coming out with a better result than English students, than Scottish students, and you see that you wonder what's going on here.
But those are the sort of things that the English Baccalaureate Certificate, EBC, is going to try to identify. Because if you sit for one exam at the end of the session or at the end of the year, you know that you sit for the exam and then you're going to be graded on that one. And then the other thing, just we need to point out, is that unlike now, whereby different examination board, EQA, Excel, compete for different subjects, or all the subjects now, in the new system that's going to come into place in 2017, each of the examination board is going to set a particular subject.
Okay, if just a minute, if you're a parent watching us and you really want to have understanding, you must go and study what is going on. The present GCSE and the one coming in 2017, please don't say it doesn't concern you. The government is trying to restructure the education of this country because we all depend on education. All the technology you see, all the ways people who are manning the banking industry, the technology industry, the universities, they must be well grounded in education. And if we play with the education of our children, well, our future is gone. And therefore, it is important for you to participate in this. The telephone number is on the screen. Please call us and ask your question or give us your own view. Do you like the current one of GCSE or do you like the EBAC? Talking about EBAC, it's a French thing, isn't it?
It's a European thing. It's been happening in other European countries for years. But I think let's flipping this back.
Yeah.
Let's look at it politically. I think it's fair to say that politically, the previous system is seen as a labor system. And is seen as also producing so many students that are having the A's and the A stars. Once upon a time, those that went to university were few within the society. And, since this particular system, we've had an influx of students that are getting these new grades and being pumped forward. So I think now, they want to put that, reverse that now back to a situation where we have fewer students that out of the 30 or 28 that are in class, let's have maybe 5 or 10 at most that will have the A grades and the A stars and the Bs and not a situation where we have 20 coming out with the A stars and the A's and all of that.
Well, as much as I would like to agree with Priscilla on that point, I'm struggling to agree with her in the sense that I don't want to be to extend this one to the realm of politics, but it's a question of you have to think about what is the thing that the government introducing this. You see, the world is more of a global village. What the students are competing against, and this is even important for the parents to know, they are competing against the children, not just only in England. They are competing against the Chinese, they are competing against the American, they are competing against the Japanese. And then you have to think about what is the current curriculum? Is the current arrangement suitable for the child to compete against these people all over the world? And that is what the English Baccalaureate is trying to do, because you have to think about the core components of it, the English, the history, the sciences, the language component of it is very, very important. In the old system or the new system, the current one, some of them are making language to be optional. Meanwhile, we're living in a village where our second language is very, very important.
No, language is no longer optional as such now. Language is there. There is a choice of different languages that you must pick one. So it's not optional in that sense. But what they are trying to do, because it is said that the British system is lower. The British system is not as challenging as the European
Priscilla,
system.
Let me take calls. Yes, hello. Good morning. Who is calling?
Yes, good morning, sir.
Yeah. What's your name?
Well, my name is Olu.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Peckham.
All right, Olu, what's your take on this?
Well, the whole system depends on the students and the parents.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, we find out that the parents, people go and bribe teachers for the students to pass. Sometimes we see the teacher, because of what is going to gain from the lady student, is going to, he or she will be passed. So the only thing we need is that we have to be watchful concerning anything the government wants to do. At the same time, we say kudos to government once they have noticed that most of the AAs, they are even carrying Nigeria up and down. We find out that many of them could also speak good English. If you ask them on their profession, you will find out that they don't even know nothing. It's because for their AA that they have got in the school. So
you prefer this new one coming in 2017?
But he's in a different country.
Yeah, I prefer that 2017.
You prefer that? Okay, thank you very much. Is it true that some students do get favor from their teachers to retake until they get A star? Because that's what he just said.
I know that in the UK.
I have a call from Nigeria. Let me hear what they're saying in Nigeria. Good morning. Who's calling? Hello? Oh, we lost the call. Okay.
I know that that is not a practice that is common in the UK.
Yeah.
Which is to pay the teachers or for your daughter or son to pass an exam. It's not a common practice in the UK. Naturally, it's a common practice for Nigeria. But we're speaking specifically about the system in the United Kingdom, the current system.
All right. Hello. Good morning. Who's calling? Hello. Hello. We're having challenges here.
I think what the caller is trying to...
Hold on. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, hello. What's your name, sir? Is this the network in London or network from Nigeria?
Yeah, before, we can resolve that one. I think what the caller is trying to say is because I'm privileged to be, one of the governors in the school, which my daughter goes to. If the teachers identify that some students are not performing up to their ability, there are what we call, extra, tuitions, booster classes and things that the school can do. The school as a whole can provide the necessary support to the student to ensure that they do to the best, because it is at the school's interest, given the league table.
Yes, please do. Go on.
Hello?
Hello, where are you calling from? Where are you calling from?
From Edo State, Nigeria.
Edo State, Nigeria. Go on. Go on and talk. Oh, and we've lost him again.
Yeah. What I'm trying to say is this.
If the school, it is that for the school's interest, because of the league table, to ensure that every student gets a very good grade. Okay. And if they identify some student or a cohort of students not performing to the best of their ability, they can provide the support, the necessary support in terms of booster classes.
So not necessarily getting a special favor.
Yeah, not a special favor.
Maybe he didn't put his keys very well. But we really want to hear from you as parents and what we need to do, because the future of the nation depends on the education we give the current children. And when we think of a country like Nigeria, where educational system has been run down, then we know why this is important, not only for us as individuals just to have A stars, but as a society to be able to rely on children and generation that we have well groomed. And this is why it's important. What Michael Gove is trying to do is that this is what we're going to be seeing the next 10, 15, 20 years.
It's the position of the UK to compete favorably against the others, because the world is a global village, as I said.
And this also brings me to believe that we need to do more about education. Part of our problem back home is the lack of education in all areas of life. And that's why I'm not too angry when I had Lagos State introducing Chinese. So I'm not 100%.
Okay, let me see whether this network will work. Hello, who's calling?
That's what I'm saying, yeah. So.
Hello? What's going on?
So, can I continue?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So that's why when some people are saying, oh, we don't have this, Chinese in Lagos State, children are learning Chinese now. And I say, the more languages you know, or better. I speak German, even better than English. So that gives me an edge. You understand me? When it comes to use of the language. So language is something you cannot shove aside and say, it's something like we all say, the whole place becomes a global village, but then under the same village, there are so many divergent languages. So the more you can pick up, the better for everybody.
Before we go on break,
Yeah.
I want to be convinced that this kind of education won't revert to the way we did it, memorize everything, never knew how to apply it, pour it down, win the heart of the examiner, get your A star, but you forget it dead.
I mean, but before they sit for the exam anyway, they will have been, serious
processes in terms of testing, do homework, do assignment, and a host of other things. So it's not just going to be learning by rote, just memorizing it. I think the process has to be fair and rigor. And then what he's trying to do is to test the rigor. To what extent the student themselves know the subject? When you're talking about English, what do they know about English? If you're talking about English literature, have they read the core of the Shakespeare? Are they compare Hamlet with Merchant of Venice? Those are the sort of things you want to test.
Okay.
Can I also say that, that there's a lot of support material for students. And if you do not buy into it, if you go on the internet, for instance, all the exam boards, they have past exam papers for up to 10 years or so. So practicing all of those and using the materials available from all the shops and all of that helps you to prepare, and then it doesn't become a cramming.
I sincerely hope it will work. I pray it works, because those days we used to say, "Le garçon va à l'école ne va pas."
Dr. Johnson speaks French.
It's all memorized. But let me just see if the network is working properly. Good morning, who's calling?
Yeah, good morning. My name is Daniel.
Where are you calling from?
Take part in this discussion.
Go ahead. What's your take on this?
Good morning, Dr. Johnson, Idowu, Cecilia, and others.
Thank you.
Good morning.
My name is Daniel. My take is that I supported what Dr. Johnson was saying, that you climb some paper, then you try to pour everything down. Later on, you don't have any in-depth knowledge of all those subjects because you memorize them. That's the old system. But I want all of you to be careful that education in Britain is more or less class consciousness. Conservatives got an agenda, Labour has got an agenda. It depends upon whose agenda you want to discuss about. But some of us who belong to the old school, I was a governor of a school, which actually helped them that they should allow the people for what they call it, numeracy and literacy. Around 1990 up, before I retired after 10 years in the secondary school as a governor of the school. But what I'm saying is this, what conservatives introducing, they have done it for their colony in the past. And I'm sure that some of you sitting down there, particularly Dr. Johnson, you should know that when somebody like 60 people in the secondary school of Nigeria, I mean the standard 6, only about 5 or 6 people will be actually passed to secondary school. What of the rest of the people? And that's the way they have actually done the education that doesn't actually work for their own third world country.
Is that how they increase the fee?
What is the education about?
Hold on, Daniel.
You go to university, you do the modular system. Then, are they saying that the modular system doesn't work? America used the modular system and they are very good in technology. Okay, therefore I don't see any reason when one conservative wanted to bring O-level system where only 6 or 7 people will pass in a 60 class of students.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Today you will need, is this a political matter?
He doesn't want to politicize it, remember? When I mentioned it.
I'm not so sure whether this debate needs to be sort of sent into the realm of politics in terms of,
No, if it is political, we don't have a choice because Labour didn't introduce it, and then they just skyrocketed the fee of the university, so fewer people could go. If you are not very rich, you can't go, and there are certain universities you can go. Is this a big political agenda?
I'm not so sure whether
it's a political agenda. We have to think about what is the import of it. What does the government is trying to achieve? It's not just, government comes, government go. Yeah. You have to think about the future of the children. You have to think about the future of the country.
Some have said if Labour should win the next election 2015, this thing will never see the light of day.
Well, if that is their policy, that is Labour policy. Labour has the right, if they win the election, to introduce the policy. So what I'm trying to say is that we have to look at what are the key ingredients of this? How is it going to benefit the children? And what is the future of the country?
All
well,
right.
it's not going to
But
benefit.
isn't that enough reason to believe that it's all politics?
Okay, Priscilla, your last take on this.
My last take on it, you know, like I'm glad I heard from the last caller too, because I do see it as a political assignment. And at the end of the day,
How is it a political assignment?
whether we like it or not,
whether
we like it or not,
Give her a
Dr.
breathing
Joe,
space.
ultimately what it would do is going to narrow the number of pupils that we're going to have coming out with the A stars or the Bs or the As, or being able to go to those universities that we have seen an influx in recent years more than usual.
So if
We
you have
seen
money,
it.
if you have money to get an extra teacher, extra coaching to your child, for your child, then you are likely to have the A star, whereas a poor person who doesn't have such money will never get to that position.
No, what we're trying to do now is whether we like it or not, education is there for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody have access, everybody can have. But we're now turning it politically to a situation where we're going to bring it back to the few. To those who can afford.
No.
Yes,
Priscilla,
it's going back to the few.
I'm not sure
it's going back to those who can afford it.
I thought this
it's
would be
going back.
straightforward.
No. I mean, Priscilla,
Ultimately,
hold on, ladies
ultimately,
and gentlemen.
because how many
While
of
I
them
love this to
are going
continue,
to be
we
able
just
to
have
pay
to bring it
fees?
to an end. We have to bring this segment to an end. But more importantly, you viewers at home, go and learn what is going on.
Exactly.
You must know everything for the future of not only of your children, but of our society where we live. We leave it at this. We go on break, and then when we come back, we look at who are those distracting President Jonathan? Why should you distract a man who is working for your nation? Don't go away while I go on a short break.
Yeah, this is my identity.
The most important thing culturally that was happening in Jamaica at that time was Bob Marley exploding onto the world stage.
My life is only important if me can help plenty people.
Marley. Own it on DVD and Blu-ray. Last year, our personal claims handlers helped thousands of landlords get their properties back into action quickly and efficiently, using their own network for repairs or ours. With discounts available for those with more than one property, it's no wonder 140,000 landlords have already taken the direct line.
Radiant Glow Botanical, beautiful skin naturally. A brand new concept in skincare blending the best of both science and beauty. What daily life takes from your skin, Radiant Glow Botanical puts back. Clinically proven to be suitable for the most sensitive skin. Imagine natural products so sensitive, even babies benefit from it. Radiant Glow Botanical is ideal for the whole family. Radiant Glow Botanical, beautiful skin naturally.
This is the VVS show, and I'm Flower Abeni Omawale Ola.
Information is power. It is also money. Whoever you are, whatever you do, wherever, you can reach your target. You can reach your goal.
Business Extra targets and promote business enterprise, entrepreneurial ideas, and every business initiative. The experience of our finest business, management, and political experts are unbeatable. With Tunde Alabi at the driving seat, you can be sure of the best, nothing but the best.
On Business Extra, Every Thursday, 1 till 2 and 8 till 9. On Ben TV, Sky 183. Business Extra. Make more money.
For participation and appearance, call Tunde on 075 75 81 6767. 075 75 81 6767. You can email us at bentv.business@gmail.com. Business Extra, your window to the world.
Welcome back to You Decide. We give you facts, information, and analysis. Of course, you are free to call us and give us your opinion. Joining us right now is Bishop Kola Onolapo from Abundant Life Church in Nigeria. He's been here on this program before. Bishop Kola Onolapo, you're welcome to the program. We're going to discuss issues affecting your nation, Nigeria, now. And the president has just made a statement. I want to read this statement out, and I'll be asking you a few questions, if you don't mind. President Goodluck Jonathan declared that he's presently preoccupied with serious governance and warned politicians not to distract him with politics of 2015, saying the next general elections in year 2015 was still 3 years away. President Goodluck Jonathan said this while looking at the 155 achievements he's had. The president, who spoke in Lagos through his senior special advisor on research, documentation, and strategy, Mr. Oronto Douglas, at a media presentation of a book entitled Sure and Steady Transformation, said his main focus was to keep his promise to Nigerians, which are already being witnessed across the country with the improvement in the power sector. The 155-page book documents the numerous achievements of President Jonathan's administration in first 1 year in office. The president said the warning had become necessary given the preponderance of reports and comments on the 2050 election in national newspapers and other media channels. He said in politics, 24 hours is a long time, and wondered why politicians are already talking about 2015. That is 3 whole years away. There seems to be too much politics in Nigeria than governance. In other democracies, politics stops at the end of an election and governance starts. But in Nigeria, it is the opposite. So what is politics? Politics is sharing of power among parties so that they can give welfare. But in Nigeria, they don't think about the welfare, they think about the politics, sharing of the power. Well, if that is the case, Mr. President said he's being diverted from his job now that he's Mr. President. Stop politics, let me govern. What do you say, Priscilla?
I say, yay! And you're wondering why I say that. I say that because for the first time, I wish he had made this speech when he actually took office, instead of speaking about elongation of term being the first issue on the agenda. Yes, that didn't go down very well. But for the first time, I appreciate this speech because for the first time, he is demonstrating that, you know, he's considering the people, and he's demonstrating that he's taking a stand and, you know, I am Mr. President and this is what I'm doing right now. And he is right when he says in other democracies, you know, election, at the end of the election, governance starts. And in Nigeria, it's vice versa. I agree with him. That is a sure fact statement that he has made right there. And I salute him, and I hope that, as he has said, we will begin to see the fruits of that.
Otumba Hosseini, Sure and Steadfast is a website, www.sureandsteadfasttransformation. Mr. President said he has got at least 155 achievements. Do you agree with him?
I will need to see the website first. I haven't seen it.
Okay.
But now you've mentioned it, I will go and Google it and check it out. But let me also say this in support of what Priscilla said. In politics, there are these settings where the laws are made, then this executive is supposed to carry them out and all that kind of thing. And judiciary sitting down to, you know, adjudge whatever. Now, if the president feels that he has a job to do, and he's now saying it to Nigerians that he wants to do it, I applaud that. But at the same time, he must also learn to multitask. He knows the kind of people he's governing. He knows that even though 2015 is another 3 years ahead of us, if they are talking politics, he should not feel distracted. He should concentrate on whatever he's doing. So
Okay.
saying to us that he's been distracted now I think doesn't hold too much water before me. So
Okay,
I'm very happy he come out to say.
Pick up. Bishop, you just came from Nigeria and you live in Lagos. Your ministry is over 10,000 people in Nigeria, in different towns, in different cities. How will you rate the administration of Jonathan just 1 year? Has he managed to transform what he met to where we are?
Distraction. If he was talking of the Boko Haram distraction,
yeah,
and so many other distractions, that are on him, different from the politics, because I don't think it is possible to change the present generation of politicians in Nigeria from talking politics 10 years ahead of time, because some of them are there just for that. They are not really there for governance. They are not really there to fulfill promise. Some of them are there because of what they will gain from it.
Self-serving.
And they have to plan ahead. I mean, if those of them who are doing already the second term, we want to transfer the next term to somebody who will be still beneficial.
Yeah, to them, to their cause.
You know, so like Otumba said, to me, he should just focus on where he's going.
Okay.
Because he already told us he knows where he's going.
When last did you pass through Lagos-Ibadan Expressway?
Wow, I passed through that not long ago, and
what was the transformation on that one?
There's no transformation.
Okay, on electricity, because you just came from Nigeria in the last few days. How about electricity? How has it improved? Because we want all our viewers to hear.
The truth of the matter is, I wish it is improving. I wish it is, but for me. The one thing about you can't sit down one corner of Lagos and really be able to make a genuine assessment, because some areas are more favored to some other areas, depending on how they are treating the suppliers of electricity to them. You see, so you don't have a balanced assessment based on what you see. If I leave Agege and I go to Ikeja, do I see the same thing happening there? The complaint of Agege people will be different, a little different from the complaint of Ikeja people. And the complaint of Ikeja people will certainly be different from those in Lekki. But sincerely, I wish that Jonathan, in his tenure, could just focus.
Bishop, I'm going to ask you a very serious question. In the last 20 years, many Nigerians have been told to become Christians, born-again Christians. And there have been many churches all over the place, every street with a church. Why is it that more Nigerians are getting born again and more Nigerians are being fraudulent in their ways? Is there any explanation? How can you be born again and be fraudulent, and including those government officials, including individuals in secondary schools, in workplaces? How can you be getting born again in Christianity and fraud is still filling the whole place?
Well, this is the question asked again and again. From year to year, every day, and it looks as an unanswerable question. The Christian community will do their part propagating the gospel of Jesus Christ. And one thing I can assure you is that the present leadership of Christians are becoming very conscious of the fact that churches are increasing, but righteousness is not increasing in our nation. They're becoming conscious. Everybody is hitting at it. And, in meetings of leadership, and, it is being touched, it's being talked about, it's being emphasized. I think the bottom line is only God can help Nigeria. Sincerely.
Yes, Otumba, what do you say?
Yeah. Let me seize this golden opportunity. I'm so privileged, I'm so honored to be sitting near a man of God, bishop. Even though the anchor of this program is also a man of God, and I've always appreciated him. Now, this statement I want to make, and I hope you will understand. you know the scale of the sovereigns of an average Nigerian or Nigerians put together. And when you put together the number of people that a man of God like yourself, sir, and many others, big, wig, top bishops and archbishops and so on, are controlling. I wonder, apart from the gospel teachings, do you also educate these people to get them to know their rights, also to fight for their rights? Because we all know here that the problem in Nigeria is problem of education, and also, fortunately so, people like yourself, you are in a prime position, in a vantage position to also to say to the government, like here, where the Archbishop of this country will say to the government, we charge the government and say, what you are doing is wrong. How many times, sir, you and many other, with due respect, sir, have charged the government and said to the government of Nigeria and say, what you are doing is wrong, you did not do what you promised the people, these are bad roads, no water, no schools, no food, nothing, no education, and so on and so forth. Did you say it loud many times?
Okay, yeah, you are good.
Sincerely speaking, we have again and again and again. You see, the politics in Nigeria is a very, 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 very serious one. We are in a situation in which the Christians send representation to the government, and we say, look, this is how we want to have it. This is how it should be. This is what you promised. And the government will say, yeah, we will. As soon as the group, the representative, I'm saying this authoritatively.
Yes, please.
I'm saying it because I know that again and again we have sent representation. Again and again we have met even to the government, to Jonathan. But as soon as your team, the representative of the Christian community of Nigeria, leaves, another batch of people come who are just saying directly opposite to what you have said.
And they're the same Christian?
Not Christian, not the same Christian.
Okay, I just want to, yeah.
Nigeria is full of different groups and religion. And in politics, they want to play the game to be able to give an impression they are not against any, they are in support of everybody. So as soon as this team goes, the next team comes. Are you following what I'm saying?
Yes,
I'm telling you the truth, because
this
issue you raise have been raised in the topmost of Christian leadership meeting in Nigeria. And we have seen ourselves in a position we have asked ourselves, if people ask us, why are we not able to impact the government of our nation? What do we say? And then we brought out instances in which we have sent representatives, we've had decisions, we have sent people to represent and tell the president, this is where we are, this is what we want, this is you understand what I'm saying? But you see, the government wants to please everybody. So it doesn't matter what your opinion is. Oh, when we are there, they say, oh yeah, that's how we appreciate all you have said. That is wonderful. And we will make sure that we implement it.
But sir, given that
2 weeks later, you just discover that it's just like a wasted energy, wasted effort.
Yes, Priscilla.
So given that you've made these trips so many times, and given the power that you have in terms of the masses, because I bet you, if I stand in front of your congregation and I say, everybody stand up, if I don't have your backing, if you don't introduce me and give me that good reference, they will not stand up. But if you tell them, everybody, before you say it, they're on their feet, that means you have some kind of control over them. That means, no, wrong word, you have influence. And so, you know, you have almost 10,000. And all the others, the top, you know, Christian Association of Nigeria, for instance, can command a huge millions in terms of people. And it's not a matter of that you're going to the government to say, give us anything outside of what they're supposed to produce as government, as in governance. So why have and yourselves not come up with a different solution or a different line of questioning through the power that you have, and that is the power of the people. Because if all of you, the top ministers, believe it or not, you affect the economy of that country, and in everything that you do. Is it the transportation, common transportation, or is it the common water that you buy? Or is it, but I don't think we realize the power. You know, governance cannot exist without the people.
I think,
sir, you know, has there been any plans to say, let's use the power that we do have in the masses that we have before us, that we can ask to do things and they will do that?
Because the method you have been using is not working.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good observation. But I must say at this juncture that a lot of that will be dependent on the person himself, who is the leader of such congregation that you are talking about. This is what I mean. There are congregations. There are congregations where you may even have some of the top leadership as members of
that congregation. Yes.
Okay. And so coming down to say that, okay, this is what we want, and let us come together. I could remember before the last election, what efforts were made by the PFN, the CAN leadership, to bring us together, to agree together on what we are going to do, who we will put in, because we were sure that if we have a common voice in putting these people there, these people there, these people there, when they will get there, they will listen to us. When we get there, we'll be able to influence them. But look, it's not as easy as that. People promise you, but when they get up there, man, there is a change.
They just change.
So where they withdraw their support, are you not able to withdraw your support? Where they
you can't. They are
there. Well, they're already there. They are there. You can withdraw your support another time when
they come for election.
They will come for election. And let me tell you, it might not be as they may not find it as easy. I mean, due to all the points I'm making, they may not find it that easy when next they will go for this similar.
The telephone number is
both at state
on your
level,
screen, and please call us. How can the church in Nigeria help Nigeria? Phone in right now. We want Bishop to take your questions. How can the church in Nigeria help Nigeria? We really need help. We need prayer. But people are asking, why can't the church teach their congregants fundamental human rights so that they can tell the government face to face? But let me take this call. Good morning. Who's calling?
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Yeah, your name, where are you calling from?
Yeah, I'm Prince Olu. I'm calling from Peckham.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, the first question concerning Jonathan, I will tell you that Jonathan alone cannot do it.
Okay.
Let there be a saint to be the president of Nigeria, he will not be able to do it because of the corrupted people surrounding him. In politics, when you, from onset, you may have a good mind to do something better, but on getting to that position is difficult. It is difficult. The tension this man is going through, Jonathan, I tell you, if you can look through his eyes, you will find that it is even older than Obasanjo now because of the stress and tension he's going through at this point in time. There are Boko Haram who are at his back, there are Northern who are at his side, and there are Joe who are at the right hand, the CPC, the OPC, all of them surrounded him. This only man, you know, is difficult. That's number one. Number two is concerning the society. The society we are talking about in Nigeria, we find out that there are some people who are really hungry. And an hungry man is an angry man. Be you Christian or Muslim, whatever level in which you are in Christendom or in the Muslim world, I tell you, when you are hungry, you are ready to do anything. When you will not even be able to eat anything, you get corrupted. And you see that somebody is telling you to come and take a bribe to do this. I tell you, if you are not having any intention before, you will take a bribe.
Even a bag of rice will take away your vote. All right, thank you very much. We just have
one other observation I want to make is that I must be sincere that since the bombardment of leadership, Christian leadership too, have had to refocus on many things. How do we help our brethren? What can we do? What again can we do in states where people are just worshiping in the primary school and suddenly what else can we do? Let me say that it has preoccupied a lot of the meetings. And when you see people the leader of CAN, Pastor Ayo Jafo, is always there. That's on true. The TV, always there with the government, always there telling them. I mean, this one man that God has blessed Nigeria with, I must be frank, I don't know if we have ever had and if we could have anybody who has a kind of boldness and, you know. So, again, that has really diverted our focus. Yeah. You know, you can't hear your bishop friend and the leader of so Christian community or the leader of the CAN or so in so state crying for help, that possibly there should be more help from the center happening. But what help? They have put the military there, they have put the police there. What has been...
Okay, let me take one more call before we call this segment to an end. Yes, hello, who is calling?
Hello?
Yes, good morning. Turn down the volume of your telly and talk to us.
Okay, I will do that. Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Yomi. I'm calling from Surrey.
Okay, go ahead, Yomi.
Thank you. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
In some cases, I can agree with the reverend that is speaking to you here. In another way, I can disagree with him. I share the comment of the lady who was with you there,
okay.
Which is very, very intelligent question. But let me tell you this. Nigeria, who are a Christian, they were more even knowledgeable than the so-called pastors or bishops. The only thing the difference between two of them, the pastor hold the church on the commercial issue because it belongs to them and their wife. And the people who are a member, they will not go down to go and worship God, except that they are asking God to giving them money, blessing them due to their poverty. So when you look at both interests of born again means accepting the church, asking God, and you can provide me money and then to survive. And when they look at the pastors who are here and then telling them they were here on commercial basis because the churches it belongs to them, Mr. and Mrs.
Is it not because, excuse me, is it not because the government is not performing? That is why the people are looking up to God through their pastors. If governments are provided, they have all the infrastructures. If they don't have employment, they will have money, social benefits. They will have a house over their roof. They will have money for their bills, where like they do here. Why will they have to be looking up to God and for money?
You are right, Doctor. You are right, Dr. Johnson. You are right, Dr. Johnson. But what did you got to understand is that way. We are in Nigeria, a robber, just a thief. Okay? The people whom you call a government, if they are not clean, and they make their money, and we Nigeria listen to their lecture. Because Nigeria couldn't fight back. Like the Saudi Arabia and the other. Ask yourself, how many people are in this country or in Nigeria ready to die for Nigeria, for their belief?
Okay.
Difference between this country and what is it?
Okay, let the bishop respond. Let the bishop respond. Thank you very much for calling. Bishop, can you respond to what?
Well, I don't seem to understand because it looks as if it's taking us outside the discussion.
Yeah.
No. I don't seem to understand what he means when he said both the leaders in the churches and the congregation are more concerned about what they will eat and the commercial part of their personal lives, how do we survive situation, than what is happening. What we are talking here about, what is the body of Christ, the leaders, the Christian leaders in Nigeria, what are they doing to make it easier, to make the government to perform in accordance to promise, to make the government of Nigeria, what role have we played thus far? I think that's the issue.
Yeah, because that's correct. That's correct. But people will always say what is in their mind. Pastors, they take their money. Nobody talks about. Anyway, let's leave that one. Well, we just have to Otumba in one statement.
Yes. I just want to use this opportunity again to appeal to a man of God sitting down here to also, when next you go to the next meeting, and say we have tried all these methods. It's not working. Let us now change our system, like Priscilla is trying to say. Let's start educating our people, the millions of people, these soldiers we have. Let them start asking questions. Let them
from the government.
Let them start telling the government that this is what we want. These are our rights.
Well, I have to stop you there because pastors are not trained to teach to teach civics. That's not their training. Pastors are not trained to teach. There are some pastors that are good at civics work, like me.
But where they can, they should let their congregation know what their rights are.
They can
know the difference between voting, what your vote means, and when you collect 5,000 naira.
Do you know Pastor Tunde Bakari, who tried to come into politics? Do you know how many born-again Christians are fighting him that he's doing the wrong thing? Do you know how many people left his church because he's trying to...
There's a difference between using the platform, I think with Pastor Bakari, he's gone too far. He started off quite nicely, but you do not use the platform of God.
He did not use the platform of CPC.
No. You don't use that. You don't stand up as a pastor and you begin to abuse and insult the government of the day. When you go that, you're going too far. If you're teaching basic things, that is to say that your vote counts. Understand what it means that if we vote for this person,
now, what do you say when a person has critical analysis of a government, then you say that's going too far because Tunde Bakari can give critical analysis of a government.
He can give critical analysis. He can do it elsewhere. But don't stand up in the pulpit when you're supposed to. No, let's not go there because that's a totally different issue.
Fundamental human rights.
No. I want the pulpit to be able to say. I want you to be able to just tell the congregation what it means to vote. Not necessarily, just let them understand that the 5,000 naira you collect will finish now on that water there. It will not go any further. But if you vote for the right person and understand what it means to vote, you stand to have a better future. Period.
Of course, I understand what you're saying.
I know, Doc. I know you do.
Bishop, I'm going to give you the last say for this segment. What would you like to tell Nigerians living in UK and indeed in Europe, the Nigerians in diaspora? What advice do you want to give them before we bring this segment to a close?
Well, almost every Nigerian that you ask have their own opinion about how Nigeria can be better.
So 150 million people, we have 150 million ideas.
And every Nigerian is a wonderful talker. Every Nigerian is a very fantastic critic. Every Nigerian seems to know that if we do it this way, we will get this result and all that. But talking to the church, talking to people who say they are born again, I think this is a time, much more than ever before, in the history of our nation, that we have to pray. I have not seen a situation that God cannot change. Well, individuals may say, well, we are praying quietly. I think we need to go a little further. We should pray as a congregation. If I ask Nigerian populated congregations in the United Kingdom, do we set aside any time primarily to pray for Nigeria? The truth is that once we're in our churches, our aims and objectives, we don't really remember Nigeria as a nation. It's when we get out of church and we are talking politics and we are talking, that's when we are very concerned. So God said it. He said, if my people which are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face. There has to be.
Then I will hear from heaven.
Yes, and I will forgive their sins.
I will forgive this and heal their land.
Only God can heal our land. There's no amount of talk strategy and, some strategies end in tragedy.
Well, I know that on the 1st of September, the Nigerians in England gathered together and they prayed with Yakubu Gowon there. And we hope such prayer meetings will continue. And I know some who have the heart for Nigeria will continue to pray. On that note, Bishop Kola Onolapo, I want to thank you. I know you are visiting London and you are going to complete your conferences. We want to appreciate what you are doing. And I want to also say the extent to which you have supported CAN, Christian Association of Nigeria, and your support of Pastor Ayo Orisheja for all this. God will remember you and bless you. We're very proud of you. Thank you very much. We are going on a short break. You don't go away because you are going to decide. Your next president in 2015 may be Governor of the Central Bank, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi. The CPC is trying to bring him on. Don't go away. You will decide.
And I'm Flower Abeni Omawale Ola.
Information is power. It is also money. Whoever you are, whatever you do, wherever, you can reach your target. You can reach your goal.
Business Extra targets and promote business enterprise, entrepreneurial ideas, and every business initiative. The experience of our finest business, management, and political experts are unbeatable. With Tunde Alabi at the driving seat, you can be sure of the best, nothing but the best.
On Business Extra, your business gets extra boost, attracts more clients, and makes more money. Every Thursday, 1 till 2 and 8 till 9. On Ben TV, Sky 183. Business Extra. Make more money.
For participation and appearance, call Tunde on 075 7581 6767. 075 7581 6767. You can email us at bentv.business@gmail.com. Businesses